Well, the movement to buy Canadian is sometimes easier said than done, especially when it comes to fresh food and produce. On average, we import 50% of our vegetables here in Canada, and that number goes up to 75% for fruit. So as part of a new series, we are looking at how different sectors that rely heavily on the United States are adapting to become more Canadian-focused and self-sufficient. And one of our Your Morning producers, Michael Hiscox, is starting that series off looking at efforts to grow more food right here.
This is Living Earth Farm. Tucked away in Toronto, vertical farms like these are part of many new solutions now available that help us produce fresh produce during cold Canadian winters. But now, facilities like these are taking on entirely new meaning. They could be the key to helping wean ourselves off foreign food imports during an increasingly heated trade war with the United States.
Michael Nantes has been running the farm since 2023.
You know, conventional farms can only grow for like 8 months of the year or something, so for us, we grow all year round.
It's a process that starts with seeds, germination, and then days under UV lights until these greens are ready to eat.
There's a huge opportunity here in Canada for producers to start growing microgreens or other leafy greens indoors. It shortens our supply chain. That allows us to harvest closer to when its nutrient density is at its highest.
It's an opportunity others see as well. Right now, Canada imports about 90% of its leafy greens and 3/4 of its fruit. But some farmers are stepping up to change that. Fiddlefoot Farm in Ontario uses mini greenhouses like these to grow and harvest spinach all winter long. Arcopia Farm in Saskatchewan cracked the code to growing local bananas.
Luckily, we don't have tarantulas in Saskatchewan.
Then there's the garden on BC Salt Spring Island, which grows lemons, oranges, and even avocados.
This year's baby, this tree is, you can see the health of it. Like, this is February, and that's a healthy tree.
So why does Canada still import so much food? We asked Mike von Massow, the University of Guelph.
We could be entirely self-sufficient. We were entirely self-sufficient beforehand, and while population has grown, it doesn't mean we couldn't still meet our demands. It's just about variety. We like avocados that we get from Mexico, oranges we get from South America and North Africa. Technology is allowing us to produce a wider variety of things on a larger scale so that we can supply some of those things that they'll even be fresher here. There is an opportunity. It takes energy. It takes space. You know, a greenhouse or even a vertical farm takes space. So we are seeing innovation that's allowing us to produce more. Parts of this will be our geography. Clearly, we're seeing an expansion of greenhouse capacity in southwestern Ontario. Our winters aren't as hard as, say, on the prairies, where greenhouses are not impossible, but they require more energy. The costs go up.
The trick for now might be to not rely solely on fresh produce.
We've started to change the way we're buying in our household too. And if you look at frozen vegetables, when I was a kid, frozen vegetables were horrible. They were soft and mushy and just weren't as nice. Flash freezing technology, those things are just as nutritious. The texture is good. And so you can get it. It means changing your habits a little bit.
But as vertical farms grow in Canada, every harvest gets us closer to fresh variety all year long.
We've got 10 different crops, so we can't quite get the ideal temperature and humidity for every single crop, but we can find a sweet spot so that we're keeping everything as happy as can be.
And producer Michael Hiscox is in studio with us now. Mike, great story. You mentioned something with Professor Mike von Massow that I thought was really interesting. When you look at the size of those farms, they're small right now. What are the challenges of trying to scale that up to make it a little bit bigger, and how can we do that?
Well, I think it's an interesting question because it's already starting to happen. We are arriving at that moment. So Living Earth Farms, the one that you just saw in that piece, is actually looking to expand right now. There's another facility out in Guelph, Ontario. They're called Good Leaf, and it's an example of one that's already producing at the scale that you're referring to. So if you were to go into a major grocery chain in many different parts of the country, you would see their products alongside the leafy greens that we import from the United States. So clearly there's still some challenges with vertical farms. It's not cheap to keep all those lights running all day. They tend to pay higher rent costs because they set up in urban centers. But certainly they're proving that this business model is working here.
Yeah, it's fascinating to look at what you're doing, which is the future of farming. What else did you discover? I know you love research. I know this firsthand, so what did you find?
I do love my research. I think it's funny because a lot of people tend to associate farms and farming with a kind of simple life. And the more that I dig into it, the more I realize that's not true at all. Farmers are often on the front line of cutting edge technology. So right now we have farms where there are drones buzzing around, or we have farms that are using AI.
You can farm from your laptop now.
You can farm from your laptop now, that's precisely right. And there's one farm, well, many farms are doing this, but there's a farm here that's experimenting with it. They're using artificial intelligence at a tomato farm. And so the AI is used as a kind of facial recognition, except instead of—
This is it here.
This is it here, we're seeing it. Instead of identifying faces, it identifies tomatoes when they're ripe and ready to harvest. And then once it's scanned the farm and identified them, it deploys this robot with a vacuum arm that you're seeing here that plucks just the ones it wants off the stem and leaves the rest. So I think it's a really exciting look at the kinds of technology that's in the pipeline for food production that's going to affect us in the immediate future.
That's fascinating to see what is happening now. This is a look at things that we don't normally get to see, so thank you for bringing it to us.
If you like that video, make sure to subscribe to the Your Morning YouTube feed, where you can find all kinds of new content posted every weekday morning.